The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
I'm Ryan Risky.
And we have a caller on the phone as well. Welcome to the show.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Real good. Hey, just wanted to talk a little Blackhawks about looking towards next season. I know they have a lot of salary cap issues, and I don't know how it'll all be resolved, but, you know, let's say they're able to sign Saad and Kruger to, team-friendly deals, and when all's said and done, you know, out of the unrestricted free agents, they have a choice to either sign Mike Richards or Antoine Vermette.
Okay.
Now, which guy do you think would be the preference to bring back?
Vermette's the younger option, except Richards is probably the cheaper one. The thing that would hurt with Vermette is he's probably the number one forward available at the unrestricted free agent, so he might be looking for a big payday unless he's willing to take a pay cut to stay.
Yeah, I read that too, and I like him because he wins so many face-offs.
Yeah, he's a two-way forward.
You know, I mean, he scored a lot of big goals, but, the face-offs, he was just terrific.
Right, and I think they're both good players, Vermette and Brad Richards. Obviously it's going to be tough to keep both, like you said. But I think, if they can keep one, I mean, it's still a good asset to have a guy like Brad Richards. I know Vermette probably overall is a better player, but I think Brad Richards would be nice to keep too. It'd be nice if they could try to keep both of them, but that probably won't happen.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't.
Yeah,
and if Vermette, I looked at, he's 32 years old, so he still could get a good multi-year contract. And I did read also that he's one of the most attractive forwards in the free agent market this year. But I know he looked like he was having a blast in the finals and in the aftermath.
Yeah, hopefully that'd be motivation to keep him, because I know Stan Bowman also expressed interest in keeping Andrew Desjardins.
He'd be cheaper. That one's more realistic because, you know, he's just kind of a tough fourth-line center, grinding kind of guy. He could drop his gloves, and but you're not going to get a lot of scoring out of him. But Quenneville used his fourth line to shut down the other team's top lines, and they did a great job against, the top two lines for Tampa.
Yeah, they really shut down Stamkos, and last year Desjardins only made $750,000, so he'll probably get a little bit of an increase, not too much that they shouldn't be able to keep him.
Yeah, well, dock him $10,000 for taking that penalty at the end of Game 6, though.
Right.
With 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, I thought that something bad was going to happen there when that happened. I was like, well, they're going to score at least a goal, and then they'll have a chance to pull their goalie, and it'll be 6-on-5, so I don't know what's going to happen. But luckily, that didn't happen, and they were able to hold on.
Yeah, he almost ruined Crawford's shutout.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Well, I was worried more about the game. I didn't care about the shutout, really. I wanted it till that penalty happened, and I just want to win.
Right.
I don't want to lose this. All right, one other topic is the goalies. You know, Ranta was the backup last year, and Darling kind of knocked him out of place.
Right.
This year, and Ranta ended up back at Rockford. I mean, does Ranta have a future?
I wouldn't think so, because they gave Scott Darling a 2-year extension.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, I believe it was around in February or March. They gave, when they sent it was after that awful game against the Bruins. They sent Ranta down.
Yeah, I remember that.
Called up Darling and gave him a 2-year extension.
All right, so probably Ranta, it'd be better to let him go to another team and let him, try to work himself into a more favorable situation somewhere. Even though it's great to have a guy down at Rockford you could call up when one of the goalies gets hurt, but I don't know if it's fair to the player.
Right. And it's hard to imagine him beating out Darling with the way he showed that he could come in the postseason and play well if they needed him to, like he did against Nashville.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that Crawford got benched after the way he played against Tampa and in Game 7 against Anaheim.
Yeah, and obviously it all worked out, but yeah, I mean, it was a little interesting. That they really had a short leash on Corey Crawford there for a while, but then they went back to him, obviously, and he did really well in the Stanley Cup final. I mean, he did as well as anyone could, especially in those last 3 games.
Yeah.
Right. It was a blessing in disguise that Darling had those 2 bad games, or that awful Game 5 and then that bad first period in Game 6.
Yeah, I have a feeling if they would have stuck with Scott Darling, throughout the playoffs, it could have gotten interesting.
Right.
I'm not sure if they would have beaten Tampa Bay because Corey Crawford really was one of 2 main reasons that they won the cup. The other reason was Duncan Keith, pretty much.
Yeah. I know.
Keith was the most valuable player for the whole playoffs.
Right.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. He was fantastic. But Crawford, if that Conn Smythe Trophy was just for the finals, I think Crawford would have won, but it's for all the rounds together.
Yeah.
Yeah, those 2 bad games against Nashville probably hurt his chances.
And but yeah, next year hopefully he goes slump free. If he could stay out of those concerts.
Yeah, don't.
Right, if he doesn't hurt himself again at a concert.
Yeah,
Walking down the stairs.
Yeah, he was playing really well before that injury, and then when he came back, he wasn't playing as good.
Yeah, not for a long time. He was playing great before he got hurt. And then it seemed like it took him a long time to get back in the groove.
Yeah, which then, he did play well after he found his groove again. Yeah, it'll be an interesting offseason because on defense they need to get younger, and it doesn't. Other than Van Riemsdyk, we don't really know who could possibly step up in a big way next year.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been reading about this Mike Riley. He was a draft pick of the Columbus Blue Jackets in 2011 or 2012, and I think you have 3 years to sign a guy, and their period to sign him ended on June 15th, and he told the Blue Jackets that he was going to sign with somebody else. And they've thrown around the Wild and the Blackhawks as the favorite.
I think I read he was born in Illinois too.
Yeah, his dad's like a minority owner of the Wild, but I don't think that means much, if they got 300 owners.
Yeah.
But he was named the most valuable player in NCAA hockey this year.
Wow.
So he's a guy that could step in, relatively quick, if not right away. I think in less than a year. So he is an option to get younger on defense and in a hurry.
Yeah,
and Van Riemsdyk is the other one. He'll play a lot next year if he stays healthy.
Yeah, he looked good when he was playing. I'm sure Stan Bowman will try to find a way to re-sign Oduya.
I think I don't even know if he's going to try. But I think he could tell this Riley guy that he may be able to start right away because they're going to have to let Oduya, go to another team. And, I read that even though he can't sign with, or he's not going to sign with Columbus anymore, that it's not an open bidding thing where the highest bidder could win. There's limits on what anybody could offer him, so it's really like choosing where he wants to play. And that's why they say the Blackhawks are one of the 2 favored teams to sign him.
I guess winning 3 cups in 6 years will help you in that situation.
Yeah, and especially when you say, look, our back end is the depth isn't there.
Right, that's a good point.
And you could step in really quick and have a job on a Stanley Cup champion.
Right, and then Rosevall's he has to be as good as gone.
Yeah, he's 38 years old, so he'd have to come back for a minimum.
minimum and be like a rotational defenseman, be like the healthy scratch most of the time.
But I think this Mike Riley, he can't sign until July 1st. So I think when that approaches, there'll be some more, rumors going around about where he might go. But, he's being able to pick his team like Kevin Hayes was in the same situation for the Blackhawks, and they couldn't get him signed, and he went and signed with the Rangers because he thought he could play sooner, and then he had a great year this year.
Mm-hmm.
So this Riley could be in the same kind of circumstance.
Right, yeah, hopefully, because, they need to get younger on defense, and the defensive pool of free agents really never is that great, and they don't even have the salary cap to go and try to sign a big name if there was one, because they'll probably have to try to trade someone like Bickle or Sharp to try to free up some salary just for future extensions for young players as well.
So it's all right. I don't want to tie up your phone line, but thanks for taking my call.
All right, no problem.
Congratulations to the Blackhawks and you guys on a great show, and we'll talk to you in another week sometime.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Tony.
Okay. Bye, Ryan.
All right, that was Tony from Naperville calling to talk about the Blackhawks and really what they might have to do in the offseason, because Kane and Taves have big extensions that are kicking in that'll take up an extra $8 million in the salary cap. So
right.
The two of them will be combining for $21 million.
And plus you have the also, with Patrick Sharp, he was sort of the third guy. Him and Hossa are sort of the third and fourth scorers for this team, and probably and they're probably one of the most popular guys on the team is Patrick Sharp, and he might be no longer with the team too, partly because of those extensions and partly because of his off the ice issues. There's been a lot of things linked to him that doesn't necessarily affect with his playing, but he didn't play well in that Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, other than that empty net goal.
Right. It might be an asset. It might be a good thing to get rid of him.
Just have to hope that Saad can turn into some of what of the player that Sharp was, and if they do trade him, it'll be really interesting to find out if there's any rumors that come out from anything that gets leaked from the Blackhawks locker room that there was something that about him.
Right. I saw Patrick Sharp's wife on TV. She's very attractive. I don't know why he'd ever cheat on her. But we're going to take a break. We will come back. The Cubs are scoreless. Anthony Rizzo up to bat. We'll tell you what he did next. You're listening to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.